Greetings, YouTube. I was poking around this morning on gaming blogs, and there's one that I visit occasionally. Playing D&D with porn stars, I think is that the name of it. And I'll explain in a minute why I don't have the reference at hand. And the initial concept was I thought it was a joke. Then I read it years ago and found no, it's a real GM, and he's got a game, and his game is comprised of almost exclusively porn stars because he is a porn star himself, and this is one of the ways that they pass their time together. And he has that's how he met both his girlfriends through his job being a porn star. Okay, uh, and he had some interesting things to say, and he does tend to lean towards the OSR end of the scale, the old school revival end of the D&D scale, and I'm not a fan of the OSR, but I've gotten to the point in my gaming philosophy life to realize that if you're a gaming and you're having fun, that's cool. I will not tell you how to game unless you're doing something that is obviously prejudicial or discriminatory, or you're just being a douchebag or something. And you don't tell me how to game. Don't tell me that I'm doing it wrong. Don't tell me that I shouldn't like something. Don't tell me how, that kind of bad, wrong, fun. Don't give me that crap. I will give you that crap. We're good. Okay? Even if I don't like the OSR style and the philosophy behind it, that's for you. Game on. And I was looking at his blog, and I hadn't looked at it in ages. I mean, literally, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months. And I was just kind of skimming some of the articles he was written, or the blog posts he had written, and I happened to land on a series of hypothetical questions he was being asked by some gamer. Now, this gamer seems to be more of the traditional D&D kind of a player, and the attitude in this little passage I'm going to read to you spoke to me in a way that hasn't in a very long time, and it wasn't in a good voice. Okay, so here's the theoretical question being put forth to him from this hypothetical gamer. But if I play a suboptimal character, I'll die. Okay, someone wants to play a character in a game. They want to play a character that is effective and fits in the campaign well, and is going to give them a good chance of surviving through their adventures. Okay, I don't think that's a bad attitude. Okay, now the response. You should be able to run the table with a 2 hit point thief, having never read the rules. If you can't, then he gives 3 answers. Though either should really have 2, I think, but regardless. Now, right there, you should be able to run the table with a 2 hit point thief, having never read the rules. If you're going to play a game, you should understand the rules. Whether you're playing hopscotch, poker, or Pathfinder, you should have a working knowledge of the rules. Whether you're playing golf, cricket, or basketball, you should have a working knowledge of the rules. And that is not a bad thing. No one is going to walk onto a basketball court, be an incredibly good player, having never encountered the game before. You will not know what to do. You will muck up the game of other people. So that attitude right there gets to me. But the idea of run the table, where you can win something. Now, which is, to my mind, ironic, because he's answering a question about, well, I don't want to die because I'll be suboptimal, and then he's talking about an attitude of running the table. That's an attitude about gambling and winning. So that right there kind of set me on edge. But it gets worse. You are not good at imagining things and solving problems and need to become smarter. Because of the game should be testing your abilities to imagine things and solve problems. Or your DM is not running the game in such a way that problem-solving imagination is rewarded in consistent and transparent ways, and they suck at DMing and need to become smarter. Or, despite being so into playing your character, you're willing to play a suboptimal build, your performance of that character isn't charming enough for the cleverest problem-solving characters to take pains to keep you around, improve. And I wanted to punch my screen. I became enraged when I read this. This sort of arrogant attitude, such hubris, such gatekeeping. No. You don't get to come past the velvet rope unless you meet my standards. And if you don't want to meet my standards, well, bad, wrong, fun, get out. This cuts out people who don't have the kind of problem-solving mechanisms in their head, but could still be great role players. This cuts out people who don't have the social interaction skills that this attitude supports, yet could still be an interesting problem solver. This just puts up a wall and says, no. It is about excluding people, not excluding characters, excluding players. This is a comment about human beings, not something on a piece of paper. The person holding the character sheet. And anyone that answers a question, hypothetical or real like this, in this manner, is waving a massive red flag. I am an absolute douche canoe. Do not game with me. But there will be people attracted to him because of this attitude. Well, if I can meet a standard, then I must be a real role player. Do you see the problem there? Do you understand why I'm so pissed off about this? This guy has put a barrier up artificially and then convince people if they can get over it, somehow they have achieved something by winning his personal accolades. This is like high school in-crowd crap. And this guy's an adult, a published author with a job. I can tell you right now, I've never seen any of his porn, and I don't want to, even though some of it involves Mandy Morbid. This kind of an attitude is horrible. Now, why do I not necessarily specifically remember the name of the site I went to this morning when I read this? Because as soon as I finished reading this, I cut and pasted this into an email to myself, and then I deleted the bookmark. I am never going back to that asshats page again. I didn't agree with some of his attitudes because, again, he was on the OSR end of the scale, but I was willing to wade through it because occasionally he had good ideas. But this attitude just enrages me. It makes me nauseous. Putting up barriers like this, being exclusive, and when we should be inclusive in our gaming. It's like saying to a player, well, you're in a wheelchair? Well, screw you. You can't get in my house? Well, you can't game. It's unbelievable. All right. I'm not getting anywhere here, I guess. I'm just getting pissed off again. But this kind of gatekeeping is horrible. We don't need it. Now, if you have a problem with a specific player, a specific human being that doesn't fit with your game, it happens. You may find that you don't fit with a specific group. It happens. But to put up these kind of obstacles, to bar entire groups of people, because they want mechanisms that solve problems for them that can be handled with a die roll, that don't need to be resolved in this manner, that don't attack them as a person and say, well, you have personality defects, you shouldn't be in my game. You're not as smart as I think you are. You're not as charming as I think you are. Screw you, get out of here. It's petty. It's ugly. It gives gamers a bad reputation. It's like women facing fan tests when they go to a comic store. Oh, you're not a real fan if you don't know XYZ. It's about exclusion, and we don't need it. And he has a public voice, and people are listening to it, and there are people who will support this. And that's sad. And I wish it didn't happen, and I know it does all the friggin' time. So yeah. screw this attitude and everything that comes with it.